Hi, boys and girls. Today I'm going to be rereading Butterfly Boy. We read this yesterday, and it's always good to reread stories. And I'm also going to be asking you questions at the end about Butterfly Boy. Some of them will be questions that we answered and went over as a class yesterday, and some of them will be new questions. So make sure you are following along and paying attention. Please, at home, flip through the pages as I'm flipping through them. So if I'm on a specific page, you need to be on that same exact page and following along. So again, we're reading Butterfly Boy by Virginia Kroll, illustrated by Gergado Suzanne. Emilio wheeled Abuelo, his grandfather, out into the sunshine, down the ramp that Papa had built. "Wait for me here, and I'll get a book," Emilio said, darting back inside. Mama and Papa said that Abuelo didn't understand words anymore, but Emilio was sure he saw a gleam in Abuelo's eyes whenever he read to him. He came back outside and pulled up a lawn chair next to Abuelo. I'm going to put my screen closer so you guys can see more of the book. Suddenly, Abuelo struggled to speak. He pointed with his good hand. "Abuelo, what?" Emilio asked. He followed Abuelo's eyes. 5 crimson, brown, and white butterflies fluttered around the garage wall. They lit, fanned their wings, flitted about, and landed anew. "Butterflies," Emilio said. He watched Abuelo's face, while Abuelo watched the butterflies. Emilio knew that Abuelo was smiling inside, even though his mouth could no longer show it. Think about why his mouth could no longer show it. Every summer afternoon, Emilio wheeled Abuelo out. Together they watched the butterflies. After a while, Emilio got within inches of them. They let him stay near as if they knew he would not harm them. Then Emilio's next-door neighbor, Mrs. Salazar, never called him by his name after that. She called him Butterfly Boy. When autumn came, the butterflies disappeared. Leaves of gold and brown and crimson fluttered in their place. When the weather grew colder, Emilio wheeled Abuelo to the window instead, and he watched swirling snowflakes turn the world white and hungry sparrows gobble the toast crust that Emilio tossed to them each morning. One day, Emilio came home from the library and yelled, "Abuelo, look at this!" He opened a book about butterflies. "Remember our butterflies? They're called red emeralds. And listen to this. They're attracted to bright white surfaces. They like to sun on them. That's why they're always on the garage. Abuelo, because it's white. They're hibernating now, but they'll be back in the spring and we can watch them again." Emilio saw Abuelo's eyes glisten as he stared at the pictures of the red emeralds. So think about why the butterflies are no longer, they're able to be seen and why they will be coming back. Spring blossomed and Emilio told Abuelo, "Not much longer." What does he mean by not much longer? One sweltering, almost summer afternoon, Emilio gazed at the window during math class. His eyes opened wide with wonder. 2 red emeralds fluttered through the playground and over the fence toward Mrs. Cruz's petunias across the street. Emilio squirmed like a caterpillar until the dismissal bell. He raced all the way home. "Abuelo," he panted, "guess what?" He was going to tell him about the butterflies, but Abuelo began making sounds in his throat. "What, Abuelo?" Emilio asked. Abuelo pointed with his good hands. What is he pointing at? Emilio swallowed his words and gasped. The garage was blue. Papa was painting it to match the house, which he had finished in the fall. Emilio sped Abuelo down the ramp. Papa, he cried, you can't. Papa's head jerked up. Can't what? His voice was sharp. Paint the garage blue. They won't come back, Papa. They only like bright white surfaces. Can't you change it back? Emilio pleaded. Papa took off his cap and wiped his brow. Change it back? After painting all day? Emilio saw frown lines on Papa's forehead as he replaced his cap and dipped his brush back into the can. He also saw the clouds in Abuelo's eyes. Emilio's shoulders slumped. He watched 5 red Emiros flitting here and there, turning circles. They reminded Emilio of wilting leaves tossed in wild directions by autumn winds. Mama's laundry flapped gently on the line. Emilio watched as if he were in a trance. All at once he leaped up. 2 clothespins sprang apart and flew to the ground as Emilio grabbed his bright white shirt and scrambled to put it on. Then he stood stiff and silent as a statue. A minute passed, 15 minutes, 20. 1 red Emiros fluttered close. It landed like a whisper on Emiro's shoulder. Soon there was one on his other shoulder and another on his chest. Why do you think they're landing on him? What is he wearing that attracts the butterflies? Mama came out to collect the laundry. She stood gaping as the basket tumbled from her hands. Papa finished his last blue stroke. He took his cap off and wiped his brow. Mrs. Salzer peered over her fence, clucking her tongue and shaking her head and wearing her broadest smile. Incredible! Unbelievable! Butterfly boy. Papa was startled. What? He said. Then he understood. Emilio heard Papa call to Mama. I'll be home in 20 minutes. Where are you going? Mama asked. Papa looked at Emilio and Abuelo as he answered Mama's question. To the hardware store for a few gallons of white. Garage needs painting. Save some for my fence, Mrs. Salzer called. It's about time I painted it too. Emilio tried hard not to laugh. He felt as his heart would burst from his chest. He kept his head still so the butterflies would stay, but shifted his eyes to see Abuelo's face. The corner of Abuelo's mouth turned up, and his eyes danced and twinkled like twilight stars.